Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. My name's Taylor.
Talia.
And we're missing the other one because like I said, this is going to be a continuum of our pregnancy kind of experience story. But we are the three T's. In this video, we're going to be talking more specifically towards our labor and delivery experiences and how we kind of experience different things. So if you want to find out more just in general, just keep on watching.
For me, when I had to go to the doctors later on, he began to do cervical checks to see how far, like if I was dilated any, to see how everything was going. And some people would be like, that's the worst thing, it's the most painful thing. It was just kind of uncomfortable because there was a lot of pressure, but it wasn't like the most horrific thing for me. When it's almost your due date, I believe you have to go every week. You have to get checked. So the last time I had went, he was like, I believe I was like 2 centimeters dilated. And he was like, but that doesn't mean anything. He was like, you know, you can stay at 2 centimeters until, you know, your due date, past your due date or whatever. He told me that, you know, if she wasn't here by, her due date was October the 13th. So they were like, if she's not here by then we'll go ahead and induce you. And I was like, I just told him okay. Like, I didn't say anything. He had already like made like a little appointment and everything. But didn't really like ask me how I felt about it. He was just kind of like, you know, whatever. But when I talked to Pablo, we both agreed that I didn't want, you know, to be induced. But I was just like, you know, we'll see what happens. Well, come next morning, I'm laying in bed and I felt funny. Like, I felt weird. I was like, you know, I don't feel right. So when I stood up, I felt like I was peeing myself. And I was just like, okay. I was like, it's not very normal, I don't think. I'm pretty sure I'm not peeing myself because I didn't have a problem with going to the bathroom. So I told Pablo, I was like, we probably have to go to the hospital. And he's like, why? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure my water broke. And he was like, whoa, are you for real? And I was just like, yeah. I was like, so we're probably gonna go. And at the time, I didn't know, you know, what I should have done because you know, it's my first time and I didn't know how it was gonna be when my water broke because they show like these crazy things of like, psh, your water is everywhere and
you just expect it to be like this, like,
yeah, like this
waterfall.
Big gush of water, but it was just like leaking like you're peeing yourself. So I had called the hospital and I said, what should I do, you know, if my water breaks? And they're like, well, you might as well just go to the hospital and, you know, get checked out to, you know, make sure it's your amniotic fluid, which is, you know, the fluid that's holding the baby. Some people don't go to the hospital right away. They like to, you know, walk around, take their time. But, you know, me being the first time mom, and I was just like, oh my gosh, what if she's coming like soon? You know, I need to hurry up and go. But when I went, I was still at 2 centimeters. I was not really progressing any. I wasn't having contractions. So they were just like, if you don't progress anymore, then you're gonna get on Pitocin, which is something that helps your body kind of like push it to get it ready for, you know, labor. Because it was already like almost 9 in the morning and it came around to almost 12, I want to say. And when they checked me, I was still at the same centimeters. So they were like, okay, well, we're probably gonna put you on Pitocin to get you further along. So as you're waiting, they're having you like sign all these papers and having you fill all this stuff out. And one thing that you have to sign is if you want a epidural. I already went in the mindset that I'm not getting an epidural. I was like, I don't care what happens. I am not getting an epidural. I want to go all as natural as I can go. A lot of times you hear a lot of stories from different people that the epidural causes like back pain, and you can get the chills or the shakes, or you feel numb for a long while, or you feel sick. And I just didn't want to deal with any of that. I already have back problems as it is, like I've had since I was younger, and I'm just like, I'm not up for that. Like, if I can just push her out, I'm just gonna do that on my own. I'm trying to wait for things to progress, and finally, I'm texting everybody, and I'm like, hey, I just want y'all to know I'm in the hospital. She is on her way, but I'm not progressing, so, there's no rush to come over here or anything. Pablo was there the whole time. At the hospital, they have you hooked up to, like, a bunch of stuff, like, you have IVs, you have monitors on you checking, the baby's heart rate, and Maya was good for a while. I just felt like the Pitocin was kind of, like, messing me up a little bit, but her heartbeat kept dropping, like, just randomly, like, it would be fine, and then it would just drop, like, super low, and it kept doing that. And they had told me that if it continued, that I would probably have to have an emergency C-section. That was also one thing that I was, like, terrified of. I was like, I am praying to God that if anything, I do not have to have a C-section. It's scary enough having to push a baby out, yet have one ripped out from you.
So yes, that makes C-section a real birth.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for those that think it's easy and doesn't count, it does count, and I feel like it's more scarier than like pushing out a child. But yeah, so time's going, and then I have some visitors coming in. My grandma was there, you and Andrew were there, Pablo was there, my mom.
No, they're engaged now.
Yeah, they're engaged now, but boyfriend at the time was there. So they're all just chilling. So before that, the doctor asked me if I wanted anything for the pain. There was this other medication available, but she was like, that will kind of put the baby to sleep. And I'm like, no, I don't want that, because I want her to keep being active and letting my body know that it needs to progress. Or they're like, or we have laughing gas. That's all we can really do. So I chose that because I just needed something to distract me, because the pain was getting so bad that, like, I was just kind of like not able to focus on myself and just focusing on the pain, and I didn't want that. So I was like, you know what, just let's try it. Let's see what happens. It does not get rid of the pain at all. Like, you still feel everything, but it kind of just helps you distract yourself from that pain, because, like, as you're having contractions, you breathe in the gas, and it kind of just helps calm you and kind of gets you through the contraction. And let me tell you, I was huffing and puffing that baby. Like,
she was really I don't want to use the term high. She was loopy.
Like, yeah, I was trying to stay as calm as I could, because her heartbeat was already going all over the place, and I was just like, I don't need to be stressing. And I was on an oxygen mask, so that way she could get more oxygen. So I'm like switching masks, and they're trying to like talk to me here and there, but they were kind of like staying to themselves, because I was just kind of zoned out. I was just kind of like, I think I had my eyes closed for like most of the time, because I was trying to just focus.
If we tried to talk to her, there was no point, because she was just like, but
yeah,
she was out of it.
Yeah, because I was just like, I'm just trying to get through this.
The pain is so surreal, you guys.
Yeah. For me, I feel like the Pitocin like really upped my pain.
Yeah, you guys do your research on Pitocin, because it sounds, when the doctors are telling you about it, it sounds okay. Oh, it's gonna push my contractions further along. That means we're gonna get this baby out a lot faster. But like she said, Maya's heart rate kept dropping, and that's part of an effect of Pitocin, is like it ups your pain, but it's not stabilized. So there's a lot of issues that can come with that, and that's why doctors like it, because a lot of the times it pushes you into having an emergency C-section, because the baby's heart rate drops so low equals more money for the doctors. Yeah. So that's my little 2 cents on that. If you guys are pregnant or
just be aware of
and make sure you do your research.
And because I didn't really know, because I was just like, the doctor knows what he's doing, it'll be all right, and I'm not trying to focus on the pain. And Pablo was like, you need to breathe, like you're not, breathing. I'm like, yes I am, I'm breathing, I know what I'm doing. And he's
But
just
she
like,
wasn't.
he was just like, no, you're not. Like, you need to breathe because
She would just inhale all of the laughing gas and no oxygen. And I think the nurse told you, right?
Yeah.
She's like, you need to use both of those, honey, or sweetie, or whatever.
Because I'm just like, you're worried, you're holding one thing, and then you have your mask on you, and I just had to keep switching it back and forth. And because during contractions, you are supposed to breathe because we tend to hold our breath. Remember to breathe and stay calm. But they're just like, you're breathing, but you're not breathing good enough. Like, you need to like really breathe and calm yourself. And then finally, the doctor had checked me again, and getting cervical checks when you're in labor is a whole different thing. It is the most painful thing because this doctor is having like half his arm in you, and then you're having contractions at the same time. It is like
not really half of his arm, but it feels
like it. And it's just so painful. And I was like almost crying, and I was just like, can you get your arm out of me? Like, go away, stop touching me. When he was like 9.5, I was like, hallelujah, she is almost here. A half, can I just push her out already? Like, who even cares? But no, you have to wait till you're at 10. And so later on, they started telling them to get out and leave because I had a push out baby. And you can feel when you need to push because you just get like this urge, like just this.
It's kind of hard to explain. Like, basically, when you have to go to the bathroom really bad and
if
you feel that,
if you feel like it's right there, like it's about to come out, like you need to go, that's what it feels like. I'm telling them, I'm like, I feel like I have to push. Before even like my water was breaking or anything like that, Tara had told me, I'm gonna be in the delivery room with you. I was like, Tara, I don't know who's gonna want to be in there. Because I had to take Pablo's mom into consideration and my mom and maybe my grandma. Pablo's mom was working, so when it came time, Tara was like, so can I be in here? I was like, Tara, I don't care. I was like, you can do whatever.
Talia's like in pain and Tara's like, so can I stay?
Yeah, she's just like, I don't care. I'm like, I'm trying to push out a baby. Can you get away from me? So it was Tara, my mom, and Pablo. Tara and my mom were by me, like by my side, and Pablo was more towards the end. Of course he wanted to see the baby, and so they leave the room and I'm trying to push his baby out. During contractions, that's when you push, but when they stop, that's you have to breathe and whatever. They're like, you can take a break, and I was like, no, I'm not. I'm gonna push her out. Like, I literally felt myself constantly pushing. Finally, I just push her out, and it's like the best feeling ever because you're just like, you're in all this pain, and then suddenly you just feel like this relief. I found out later that her umbilical cord was wrapped around her neck twice, so the doctor had like quickly unwrapped it.
And that could have been another reason why her heart rate was dropping.
And that's when they told me that, I was like, well, maybe that kind of contributed to that because it was wrapped around her neck, poor baby. Whenever she came out, they had placed her on my chest first, to do a little like skin to skin. And I was just looking at her and I was talking to her, for a little bit. And she's just kind of like looking around. Because you imagine like, what is this baby going to look like? Who's she going to look like? And, how long is she going to be and all this stuff. And then they're right there in front of you. And it's just like, wow, like I really grew you. I really did that. It's just a bizarre feeling. And they were like, so, we have to clean her up. Do you want us, to go ahead and take her? Or I was like, take her away. I'm tired. Like, I need a break, just like a small break, because I was just so exhausted. And so they took her, and I'm just laying there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, finally, it's finally over. Well, I mean, not over.
The pregnancy is over.
Pushing out is over. They have to give them like eye drops and shots, and do the whole weighing thing. Pablo was right there, like watching every move that they did. He was right there and like asking all these questions, like what is that for? Very protective of her, like just anywhere that they were, whatever they were doing, he was right there watching. So then everybody else got to come in because I wanted them to see her because it was already getting late. So yeah, they had seen her, they passed her around, took some pictures. But yeah, and then after that, everybody had went home.
As short as Talia's story was. That's how short her delivery was. So she was in labor for like 12 hours. Her active labor was not very long either. She was 9.5 centimeters. We ran out. We were standing on the hallway for like 5 minutes, and then we hear a baby cry. So this whole time, I'm expecting the same thing for myself. So with her story, I was like, oh, okay, so cool. This is what I have to look forward to. Cool, yeah. My water broke October 21st of 2017 at 9 o'clock in the morning. So you guys remember how I said that I went through a midwife. So I was supposed to have a home birth, a home water birth specifically. So my water broke that morning. I was freaking out. It was Tttsisters, and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? I'm not gonna be able to go to this girl's party. She's gonna flip out because she's really dramatic. I was like, all these things were going through my mind. I'm like, wow, this is really upsetting. You're gonna come today. This is when you choose to come today. My original due date was the 26th. So I was like, why? Why now? So I called my midwife and I was like, I'm pretty sure my water broke because I don't think I peed myself. Same thing. I'm like, I don't think I peed myself. So I called my midwife and she was like, okay, just come up here because their facility is in Tampa. And she was like, just come up here and we'll check you to see if it's the same thing, the amniotic fluid, whatever. Andrew went to go get his haircut at the barbershop. And I'm like texting him, and I'm like, where are you? What's going on? Because he left at 7 o'clock and it was 9 o'clock already. So I'm like, what is going on? And I'm calling and I'm like, look, I really love you, but I really need you to pick up the phone right now. So in my mind, I was like, I'll just call the barbershop. So I called the barbershop and I was like, hey, is Drew there? And he was like, oh yeah, he's sitting right here. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, hello? And he's like, oh hey, what's up? I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm finna get my hair cut. The line was long this morning. And I was like, well, pretty sure my water broke, so I need you to come home. And he was like, for real? And I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure my water broke. We gotta go to Tampa. So the craziest thing, when he comes home, he tells me, he was like, no joke, my barber just told me about this story. That he had a guy come in last week whose wife was pregnant. And he's like, literally, as I was cutting his hair, he got a call from his wife that she was going into labor. He's like, and now this week it happens to me. And I'm like, I don't care. We're gonna go to Tampa.
We need to go.
No, but I was like, whoa, that's really trippy, you know? So we get to Tampa and I get up on the table, and as soon as she like checks, she was like, oh yeah, your water broke. And I was like, oh my god. I was like freaking out. And she was talking to Andrew, and she was like, I know you're really upset that you think you're gonna be able to you're not gonna be able to be there for your sister. She's like, but you can go. She's like, we're gonna give you 12 hours to start your contractions. So by 9 p.m. tonight, if you don't start, we're gonna have to transfer you to the hospital because obviously the baby's not gonna come anytime soon. So she's like, just go about your daily life. Just make sure you're taking care of yourself, like hygiene wise, because it's like an open wound. You're open. She said, make sure you stay eating, make sure you stay hydrated. She's like, try to take a nap. She's like, you're gonna get to the hospital probably, and you're not gonna get to sleep. So I didn't sleep, but I got to the party and I ended up calling my grandma. She was the only one that I told. I knew I wasn't gonna be able to make it to the church. So I called her and I had told her, I said, well, I'm having a baby tonight or tomorrow morning. The baby is coming. So we get to the party and it's like probably like 7, maybe like 6, 7 o'clock, I think. Mm-hmm. And we get to the party and my grandma had already told my aunt.
She had told me.
She told her. She told my other aunt. So I walk in and I look at my sister and I was like, oh, my water broke this morning. And Pablo was like, what are you doing here? He's like, oh my gosh, shouldn't you be at the hospital like having a baby, or shouldn't you be at home or something? And then I explained everything that I just told you guys. We're walking around and I was saying hi to everybody because we had family from Texas come down, and I was going around telling everybody hello, whatever. And it was the funniest thing because they were making comments about the way that I looked. Like, oh, you still have time. Your belly is still really high up. When are you due? And I was just like, ew, any day now. So I had this like secret. We all had the secret that we were hiding, and 9 o'clock came around and I still had no contraction. So I was like, okay. So we come home, I grabbed something to eat, and we head to the hospital. And because I was working with a midwife, all they did was transfer all of my information over there. So even at the hospital, I didn't get a doctor. I got 2 separate midwives because of the different times that I was there. So I think I checked in a little after 10, close to 11 is what time I checked in. So mind you, I'm already going on close to 14 hours of my water breaking. So 14 hours of labor and nothing. I get situated, we get in a room. Some of our family members go out there, not all of them, but some of them do. Yeah, we both went all natural in both senses, as in we didn't have any epidural, and we went natural vaginal. I took like medication to alleviate the pain, but all I did was stick it underneath my tongue, and it was literally like the size of a small microchip. But it wasn't anything major. It wasn't going to do anything to the baby. It was just to help me with the pain, but I wasn't really sure if I was feeling anything because I have like a low case of endometriosis, so my crampings are very severe. So when the first nurse was there and was checking my chart, she was like, oh, you just had a contraction, you didn't feel that? I'm like, no, I didn't feel that. To me, it felt like cramp. So I guess I was expecting something much severe, but I did have a nurse that kept pushing an epidural, and I'm like, no, I don't want an epidural. I think she asked me about 5 or 6 times, and then finally she was like, tell me why don't you want one? And I'm like, because I don't want to deal with the side effects of it. I don't want to have to wonder if my back is going to be okay when I come out of this, what my recovery is going to look like. I've heard some crazy stories about women who have had kids and their kids are like 18, 19, 20 plus, and they're still having this pain from one single epidural. That if I have the ability to just push the baby out, then I'm just going to push the baby out, and that's just how things are going to go. So a word of advice, I would say have a birthing plan, but don't stick to it, because like my birthing plan, I expected to be at home, and I needed to change things up because I just wasn't gonna have that. So have a birthing plan in mind, but be open to change because it's inevitable. Like something's gonna happen. I had laughing gas too, like Talia did. So we also had visitors, but to be honest with you guys, like Talia said, I did not pay attention to them. I could hear them talking, I could hear them like trying to talk to me and laughing, and I'm like, whatever, okay. So I had the laughing gas, and the second nurse, by this time we're already on 24 hours. So we're already on October 22nd. I didn't get any sleep because the contractions had started overnight, weren't really bad. So Andrew slept, and it was just me and him. I had told everybody to go home because I was like, I'm not having this baby today. They came back and they were all talking and like trying to talk to me and say stuff to me. And me and Talia are very, like we're similar, but we're 2 very different people, because my grandma and my mom kept like caressing her and trying to soothe her, and they would brush her hair. And with me, I was like, don't touch me, don't, just leave me alone. Like my grandma came up to me and she was like, Mija, do you want me to fix your hair? I'll braid it, I'll put it in a little braid, a nice braid like I did for Talia. And I'm like, no, don't. Just don't. I don't care what it looks like, okay? I look like like Talia looked really good. She wasn't that like sweaty and gross looking. Me, I look like a freaking ogre up in there. My hair was all crazy. I was like all sweaty. I was a hot mess. I look gross. Like I look like those women in the movie where you're like, this is what labor looks like. Like that's what I look like.
I just want to add, I was not able to be there because one, it was kind of far from where we live. Yeah. And I had a 12-day-old baby. So I was like, I'm sorry, I couldn't be there.
Yeah, I didn't expect
I
you to
did
be
go
there.
to Tara's party for a little bit, but I mean, I mainly just sat there. I didn't really do anything.
Yeah. So the only person I wanted by my side was Andrew, and even then I was just like, touch me here, but don't touch me here. And if you're moving over here, like, don't do that. So I was very particular on who I wanted next to me. And so time just kept going on and on. And then finally, I kept telling the nurse I had, who was kind of like rough with me, but at the end I appreciate it. So if you guys have some tough nurses with you, sometimes they're doing it because they know what they're talking about. So when I had the laughing gas, she was like, no, you need to inhale it. Like she would yell at me and she was like, you need to do that right. You're not doing it right. Make sure you're holding it all the way to your face and air it, like sucking it in really hard. I'm like, lady, if you don't stop talking to me like that,
because when I do it, I was like,
and see, I was just like,
oh.
I think that's why I didn't get like Talia did. The laughing gas, like I said, it helped a little bit, but like Talia had mentioned, it doesn't alleviate the pain. It just kind of helps you cope with it. Every now and then I felt the urge to push. And I was maybe 3 or 4 centimeters dilated. So I wasn't very far along, already over 24 hours. The cool thing about working with a midwife, even in the hospital, is they don't constrain you to one position. So I was able to get up. I used the medicine ball to, like, you know, work out my, you know, pelvic. I was able to switch positions on the bed. I was able to move around, get up to the bathroom constantly if I needed to. If I wanted to eat, I could have eaten. Juice, I was able to have juice. I was able to have water. See, I don't even like grape juice, but during that time, grape juice tastes like the best thing ever. So every time I went to the bathroom, I felt like I needed to push, and they kept yelling at me. They're like, don't push because you're gonna rip your cervix, and then right after you have the baby, you're gonna have to have surgery because we're gonna have to stitch you back up. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, you don't understand. I need to push. So I was already, by then, I was close to 9 centimeters, and I think it was like 1 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And they were like, okay, she's at 9 centimeters. She's at 9 centimeters. Who do you want in the room? I was like, everybody get out. I did not have anybody in the room except the nurse, the midwife, my midwife, and Andrew, my husband. So my midwife actually got to be up there with me, which I really appreciated. I had the actual hospital midwife, and then she came up there once I hit 9.5 centimeters. And it was the coolest thing because when she walked in, she was like, how are you feeling? Asking me all these questions. And I was like, okay. I said, but I keep feeling by then I was kind of back in my mental state, I guess, because I was already off of the gas. For her, I said, I keep feeling the urge to push, but they won't let me. They keep telling me I need to stop. She was like, it's your body, and your body's telling you to push. Then you push. You don't listen to them. You listen to your gut. You listen to what your body's trying to tell you to. So I was like, okay, cool. So I started pushing, and we started. I just kept on pushing. I was not like Talia. The whole time, I'm a very like humorous person. I try to make jokes out of everything, even like sometimes serious situation. So I'm in there like cracking jokes, making the midwives laugh, and I'm like, can you guys just rip the baby out of me because I'm so tired? Like, I just couldn't do it. I was laying there, and what?
I don't want to do it no more.
Oh yeah, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done. Can you guys just pull the baby out? Pull the baby out. Because I think at one time the head was there, and I'm like, can't you guys just pull the rest out? Like, why do I need to keep pushing? And they're like, no, Taylor, it doesn't work like that. In the position that I was giving birth, I was laying down like normal, but I had a full bar. So I had a bar and like a towel type thing. So I was basically like doing like sit-ups. So I would pull up, and it was really, I felt helped me give birth a lot. So I'd pull up and I'd push like that. So every time I had a contraction, I'd pull myself up and push. And nobody told me about the ring of fire. I don't know if you felt that. You said you didn't feel it, right? Okay, well, I felt the ring of fire like hardcore. And that's basically when the baby's head is pretty much right there. And when they're getting ready to pass through, you feel, and they told me, they were like, this burning sensation, you're gonna feel this burning sensation. Well, I had never felt a burning sensation quite like that before. I was like, oh my gosh, what is that? So that's what they call the ring of fire. Nobody told me about that, so I want to share that with you guys so that you know. So Andrew was like looking down there, and like we both had told you, I decided to wait to find out what the gender was. So we found out right then and there. And Andrew was standing there, and he was like, it's a boy, it's a boy. And I'm like, no, it's not, you're lying to me, you're lying to me. And he was like, no, for real, it's a boy. And it was really exciting. So my whole labor ended up being
like forever. Like 5 days long.
My whole labor was 32 hours with about 5 active hours of labor. So after I gave birth, you know, we stayed in there taking pictures, and I ended up nursing AJ like right away. And then Andrew went out and told our family that decided to stay. I had brought 2 onesies with different colors. So he went out there with a blue onesie and had it in his pocket. So when he went out there to go see the family, he like took it out, and they were all like yelling in the hospital. And even then I was still like, I remember that day that I gave that my water broke. I told Andrew, I was like, we're coming home with a baby now. Like, this is no joke. We're having this baby. Like, this is real life right now. So I was like, even up until the end, I was still freaking out. I know some people by then, they're just excited and they're ready. But me, I was like, this is real life. This is really happening. Oh my gosh.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed our little story time. And comment down below what you would like to see next.
Okay, so Tara's not here. So if you like it, like it. If you don't like it, like it.
Oh, make sure you subscribe and watch our other videos, and make sure you stay tuned for the next one. Bye.